Your sleep is a deep one, despite the storm which rages outdoors. The wind is howling like a couple of wild cats, both locked in a vicious and bloodthirsty bout to the death, but you do not hear it. Swaddled by the warm blankets about you and soothed by the princess's presence, you are immune from all the ills of the world. When you are with the princess, you feel safe, secure, and, yes, you even feel loved. It is a pity, then, that these feelings do not last for very long. You know something is wrong, catastrophically so, the moment you open your eyes. Your thoughts are hopelessly jumbled, but you are certain that when you fall asleep, it was in a bed, a nice warm bed no less, beneath soft, comfortable sheets. You are not lying in a bed right now, though. Oh no. She just locked me away in her dungeon. You are not, in fact, lying at all. Oh no. Oh my god, the skeletons have made dresses on too. Uh-oh. You are standing, instead, against a cold, hard wall made of stone. The curve of your back is pressed against the wall so intimately that you can feel its icy chill seeping through the fabric of your nightgown. Your feet, which are bare, are similarly pressed against cold, unfeeling stone. They feel so frigid you cannot help but tremble. You are trembling so much you can feel your teeth chattering together. They sound like castanets. The sound is almost jaunty as it echoes through your cell, for it is indeed where you are. The princess's bedchamber wherein you fell asleep is a thing now of the past. You are standing instead, you realize, with a sharp start in a cell of some great underground dungeon. You swallow, and when you do, you can taste something bitter on your tongue. Your stomach is beginning to churn with anxiety. You feel like you are going to be sick, a feeling which wells up inside you to a staggering degree when you catch notice of the stench. You are not, you realize, the only one in the dungeon. There are others here, others attired in simple black and white outfits of your servants, which look much like the dress that you once wore. The others who are with you, however, in this expansive cell manacled to the walls, are in no fit state to speak to you, nor tell you of their plights. They are all unfeeling, unseeing, unbreathing. They are all dead. Dun dun. You cannot approach these servants to check their pulses, for you yourself are restrained, but even if you could, there would be no point. There is no way any human could survive the wounds which had been inflicted upon these sad, slumped bodies. Over there, you see a woman slumped in front of her once white apron stained with blackish blood. There is a gaping wound in her stomach, one through which her entrails have half escaped, in some sort of burgundy goop which might have once been a pale pink. There is another woman slumped beside the first, of a smaller stature. She is skinnier. Maybe she is not a woman after all, but an adolescent like yourself. She might be even younger. The girl's age, or lack of, did not preclude her attacker from inflicting upon her horrors, alas, for her body is even more mutilated than the first. Her body is peppered with even more wheals. And her face has been half smashed in. Only one eye remains staring fixedly at the wall opposite her in the ruined remains of what was once her skull. Over there you see a woman who is Over there you see a woman who is missing both her arms and her lower jaw. Over there you see another who is missing her entire lower half. Where have her legs gone? You have no idea. The injuries inflicted upon these bodies are ghastly, but their advanced decay is enough to turn your stomach. You know not how long these carcasses have been lying down here, but they have begun to putrefy. You fear a similar fate might befall you should you stay here. You need to escape. Fitfully you struggle against the manacles which bind you, but alas, it is no use. You cannot free yourself from the walls. Your restraints are much too strong, and you are much too weak. Panic rises up in your throat, cold and icy, while terror seizes your heart. This too, glacial. Is it obvious? It is obvious that Oh my god. It is obvious that Oh my god, say the word properly! It is obvious that escape is impossible, but you still squirm and writhe like a rat caught in a firestorm. There is little point, however, to your struggles. You succeed in nothing as you attempt to free yourself, save making the steel manacles dig into your abused wrists more sharply than ever. You gasp. That hurts. Well, you ought to have known that would not work. The very definition of insanity, you know, performing a set action over and over again, hoping for a different response. In that sense, perhaps one could argue optimism is not so very different from insanity. Now, that is an interesting point to consider. Would you not agree? No, evidently not. You are still trying to escape, you foolish girl, as if that will do you any good. The clangorous rattling of your steely restraints is rather starting to get on my nerves. Is the narrator a separate person now? You are making enough noise to raise the dead down there in your dark, dingy cell, and all your screaming is hardly helping matters. I wish that you would cease this infernal racket, but I know you will not. Nothing I say could ever get through to you. Not that you have ever listened to me in the first place. Perhaps you would listen to her, though. Is she not your kind, considerate mistress? Look now, she has come all this way into the dark depths of this castle's cold, inhospitable dungeon to see you. Oh no, she's gonna eat me. Is that not kind of her? Oh, dear one, the princess trills, in entering the dungeon with a series of light, lilting steps. It would seem like you have finally awoken. How are you? Based on all that infernal racket you've been making, it would seem like you have no shortage of energy. Balefully you turn your head so as to meet the eyes of the princess. She is standing but a few paces away beneath the roughly hewn stone arch which bids one entry, but rarely ever an exit, to the dungeons. The dungeons are dull and drab, but the princess is wearing her favorite red dress, so it is so bright and brilliant that for a few moments it hurts to look at her. Once the red of the princess's outfit made you think of romance. Now it makes you think of violence. You must forgive me for leaving you down here for so long. That was unfair of me. I did think of waiting here with you by your side until you awoke, but... Once again the princess giggles, a light, airy giggle which does not at all suit the situation in which you have found yourself. A dungeon is not a fit place, after all, for a princess. It is horribly cold in here, and so very drab, and there is nowhere nice and soft to lay my head. I could have brought my pillows down from my bed, I suppose, and my blankets. But then they would have gotten dirty, and that would be a disaster. I need to be more careful. I won't have anybody left to clean up after my messes soon, not when I've dispatched of you. Once again the princess laughs. Her laughter is light and lilting, like the chiming of a silvery bell, but it does little to alleviate your concern. If anything, it makes you feel even more alarmed. Did she say she meant to dispatch of you? Yes, that's right. Could you not tell? I thought you might have figured that already, after waking up in a dungeon, silly. Still smiling, the princess takes another step towards you. Would that you could, you would cringe away from her, but you cannot. you are completely powerless. The princess reaches out and places a hand upon your cheek. Her skin is very white, and though her touch is cool, it is less so than the frigid air of the dungeon. Though your body is aching, the princess's touch is gentle, and you find yourself leaning into it subconsciously. You wish she would keep holding you. You wish she would keep touching you. You luxuriate in her kindness as best you can, but though the princess's caresses are tender, your circumstances rather undermine them. How can you relax like this? Ah, you're such a good girl, the princess says in a cajoling sort of voice, as one might address a cat. You've been so lovely to me while we've been together. I really couldn't ask for a better servant. I feel as though I've been spoiled. Why then, you ask her, is she doing this? Improbable though it sounds, she must be the one who chained you up. There is nobody else in the castle who could have committed such a feat. Everybody else is dead. Oh, why yes, how very astute of you. I was the one who orchestrated all of this, naturally. Naturally, she says, as though her betrayal is a matter of course. Naturally? Why, you ask, is this so natural to her? What does she mean to do with you? Oh, only what I've done to all my other servants. I have experience with this sort of thing, so please don't worry. I'll take good care of you. And by take good care of, she means, naturally, I'll kill you. There it is again, that word which seems so grossly inappropriate given all which has transpired. Naturally. There is nothing natural about this. Do you not think so? The princess examines you, her expression ponderous. It's natural to me, even if it isn't natural to other people. This just feels right. Imprisoning her servants in the dungeon and letting them die? Yes, exactly. There's a bit more to do it than that, but... Oh, of course there is. I like you, dear one, the princess says in a voice which sounds uncommonly serious. You have been good to me, like I said, and kind. For that I will be eternally appreciative. You have been so good to me, in fact, that simply being with you is not enough. Not anymore. Your company can no longer content me. I'm a greedy, selfish girl, you see. The princess's smile widens into something sinister, her eyes flashing with a fiendish fervor you have never before witnessed. And I don't want to feel you beside me, I want to feel you inside me. Well, of all the things your charming captive could have said, you did not expect that. She is gonna eat me. The princess, perhaps noticing your confusion, begins to giggle, a giggle even lighter than a meringue, and just as airy. It is just as inoffensive. I can see that you don't understand, dear one, but you aren't the only one. My last lady's maid said that too. Wanly, the princess sighs, a beleaguered woe-is-me sigh which makes her look even younger than the scant handful of years she truly possesses. And the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. I thought that you, at least, might be able to appreciate my point of view, but perhaps not. I don't think it should be too complicated to grasp, really. But maybe my way of looking at the world is a little bit unique. That's what my nurse always used to say, at least when she still had the breath to speak, of course. You look at the princess. Where else is there to look, really? Your eyes affixed to her face. She is still smiling, but there is something sinister about her smile. Or perhaps, in your anxious state, you are only imagining that there is something sinister about her smile. It is easy to see things which do not really exist when your surroundings are festooned in shadows. In actuality, however, the princess does not look any different to how she usually does. Neither is she acting any differently to the way she usually acts. She has not changed. It is only your perspective of her that has changed. Tremulously, you ask the princess what she means, a question the princess is only too happy to answer. It's simple, really. Like I said, you were wondering, weren't you? Why weren't there any guards or any servants in the castle when you first arrived here? That question had crossed your mind, yes. You are sure that the princess said her ministers sent them away, though. Was that a lie? I wasn't being wholly truthfully, no. I thought you would be afraid of me if you knew what actually happened, and I didn't want that. I wanted you to stay with me. My ministers didn't send anybody away because I don't have any ministers. I dispatched of them, too. Did she now? You suppose you ought not to be surprised, but you shudder regardless. My ministers weren't very much fun, I'm afraid. They had a lot of ideas about what I should and shouldn't do after my parents died. The princess stares at you, her eyes wide like black holes, empty, yawning abysses. So I killed them. I killed my servants too, though I did a much more thorough job with them than I did my ministers. I did not care for my ministers, you see. They were all futsy old men. But I did love my servants. I loved my ladies' maids too, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, my large retinue of retainers. They were like family. They raised me, and in my parents' absence I adored them. They were so very dear to me that I had no real choice. I had to eat them. Does that follow? Not logically, no. Why, you ask the princess, your voice trembling, would you eat the people that you love? It seems a poor way to repay them for their kindness. Well, why wouldn't you eat the people that you love? I don't think there could be any greater way of showcasing one's gratitude, unless you have any better ideas. You weren't expecting the princess to turn the tables on you quite like this, and dumbfounded you stare at her. You know precious little about love yourself, so it is hard for you to form a convincing rebuttal, but you muster up a few token arguments. You tell the princess that eating people isn't very nice, and neither is it strictly legal. A better way to show your gratitude to your servants would be with increased wages or increased holidays. The princess listens to your arguments, her expression astute, like a student poised to take notes at a very important lecture. Once you are finished, however, her concentration fails her. Her shoulders begin to shake, but it is not with remorse for what she has done. Instead, she is laughing. Oh, dear one, that's very funny, but why should I care about the law? I'm a princess. One day I'll be the queen. I am the law. That is a good point, but would eating people not turn her subjects against her? What subjects? I'm no fool, you know, no matter how I might act, and I know what happens beyond the castle's walls. I know all about the plague. Once I might have had a populace to govern, but they're all gone now. I'm a princess in nothing but name only, a monarch without any subjects. Don't you think that's sad? I know I do. It's so woefully lonely. If she feels lonely, then why has she been systematically slaughtering all of her domestics? It doesn't make a lick of sense. Perhaps not to you. Gently, the princess caresses your cheek. But I shouldn't judge you too harshly. As much as I like you, dear one, you are a commoner. Perhaps you can't understand the intricacies of my thoughts. Privately, you doubt anybody would be able to understand the intricacies of the princess's thought process, largely because it is unreasonable. You do not say that, though. Instead, you ask her the only question which you can think to ask, with your weary throat, which is sore from shouting. Why? Why, you ask? The princess blinks. It is because I don't want you to leave me, of course. Everybody leaves sooner or later, whether they have pledged their allegiance to me or not. That is simply the way of the world. People are fickle and inconsistent, even to me, a monarch. That is why I decided to eat my servants. I had no choice, you see. It was the only way to ensure that they would never leave me. When you think about it, they should be grateful that I would demean myself so to consume their flesh and blood. I am a magnanimous ruler, you see, and I treat all of my subjects equally. I love every single one of you. And naturally, I love you too. You have been awfully nice to me, and you are very pretty alongside it. If you were a plain ugly girl, perhaps I would not shower you with affection quite as intense as this, but you've captured my heart. I think you're lovely. So I'll bestow upon you the highest honor I can conceive of. I want your body to mix with mine. Then we can stay together forever and ever. The princess leans in. You can feel her soft, silken hair brushing against your cheeks. You can feel, too, the warmth of her breath as it ghosts against your skin. It is cold in the dungeon, but the princess's close proximity is, perverse though this might sound, something of a comfort. Her eyes are wide and her lips are so red. Her smile, meanwhile, is so sweet. I've been doing my best to fulfill the role that fate has dictated for me, but really, the princess exhales. Her eyes, which are boring into yours, are like two dark tarns. Finally, you think you can see, in the alarming lack of light, the lack of anything, in the princess's gaze, some degree of humanity. It gets so lonely here. But this brief flicker of understanding which passes between the pair of you is soon cut short. The princess dips her head. She parts her lips, which are as red as the petals of a carnivorous flower. You feel the princess's breath against your neck. It is warm in the icy chill of the dungeons, and you shudder from it. For a few moments, you think that this overture of the princess's could be romantic in a way, but this too comes to a swift, merciless close. The princess's mouth is around on your neck. That noise, what the fuck? The princess's teeth, sharp as needles, are in your flesh. The princess is draining your blood. She is supping on it in great, greedy gobbets, like a hungry animal, one who cannot truly comprehend the harm it is causing. Even as the princess sups from you, her arms twinned around your waist, you find you cannot hate her. She is far too unworldly. You are sure, as your consciousness begins to fade, that the princess was being sincere when she spoke of her love for her past servants. This is simply the way the princess expressed this great love of hers, a love which is so very abundant that it borders upon the monstrous. It is a love that you never thought you would ever experience. This love of the princess's eclipses anything you have ever known before. It eclipses sanity. It eclipses reason. It eclipses all notions you might have once had of right and wrong. The princess, as you know full well, does not care about such concepts. You have always possessed a stubborn core, nestled beneath your weak-willed exterior, but the princess is even stubborner, I guess. The princess is even stubborner than you are. In the face of her love, you have met your match. The princess draws back. Desperately, you gasp for air, but she does not give you any quarter. As before, she dips her head, her lips redder still with your blood, and then splits her jaw apart. Her teeth, which are impossibly, inhumanly sharp, glint wickedly like knives. Then she tears out your throat. The front of your nightgown was white once. Now it is red. There is so much blood you can smell it when you inhale, sharper than metal. It is so potent you can taste it on your tongue. You try to inhale, but this task proves to be beyond you, what with the twin perforations that have ruptured your skin. Your attempted breaths, when they escape your lips, sound like sad, sorry wheezes. Your whole body, meanwhile, feels as though it is on fire. You make for quite the sorry sight indeed. But you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know. You reap what you sow, and in your case you made a series of bad decisions which led to your untimely demise. Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept this fate of yours and rest in peace, or will you try to fight against it? Oh, a choice. I choose to fight. Rah. That is a good answer, I must admit. I like it. It is impressive how very defiant you can be, even in a situation as discomforting as this. Now, try not to cry. Keep your chin up. This is but a minor setback in your story. Like all fair maidens, you are deserving of your own happy ending. You need only the strength to try and seek it out. Why don't we give this another go? Just try not to ensnare the hearts of any more monarchs, particularly those with unusual appetites. You are destined for far higher purposes than being an entree, and there are vastly more enjoyable ways to be eaten in this world. Uwu, your fate is, once again, in your hands. Now, I wonder, which path will you take? Oh! So now we go down a different path. That's interesting. Let's go to the shore. Maybe we'll find a mermaid this time. So, you want to go to the shore? Good idea. What will you discover there, I wonder? This night is far from over, and there are many number of adventures still awaiting you. I hope that you have prepared yourself in advance, and I do hope, for your sake, that you have learned how to swim. I have a sneaking suspicion that this skill might come in handy. I was considering, going back and seeing what the other options were going to lead to, but I guess we're going to get to do all three, maybe? Or maybe if I pick the right one, it won't bring me back. Maybe they're all bad choices and I get killed in 3 ways and then something else happens. Who knows? You follow the path which leads to the shore, supporting yourself on weary, aching limbs which feel ready to snap at the knee beneath the burden of your weight. You are little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for so very long, and your feet are so very numb. You feel like a great lumbering thing. You need to lie down, and quickly. Your only hope as you continue to run is that you will find a means to escape your current predicament by the shore. You do not know what awaits you, but you have visions of a harbor extending out into the horizon, cradling a fleet of white-sailed fishing vessels. Surely there will be a kindly fisherman who will be willing to take you far, far away on his boat to a place where your pursuer will not be able to find you. You can imagine, too, the face of this kindly fisherman, a face you have lifted from fairy tales you've read in abundance as a small child. He will have thick, bushy eyebrows and a dark brown beard streaked through with gray. He will look intimidating at a glance, but he will be fiercely protective of you, just like a father. You do not know what fathers are supposed to be like. You are only imagining. It is your imagination, however, which grants you the strength needed to keep going. Okay, I feel like that is a good place to end this episode off with, and next time we will be exploring this shore. Goodbye.